the shelf.
Hustle. Pray. Eat.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hustle Pray Eat the podcast.
Episode 20. I am Alyson Evans, aka Mrs.BaddGuy, aka GR's doula mama.
Yes, and we're going to get into that and explain more about what that means. And it's me, Jade, or Ms Teapot, because we spill while the tea's hot. And we're super excited to have Alyson here, Mrs.BaddGuy, because it is Women's Month.
Yes.
So, you know, it's a good thing that we've got another woman on the show today. So we're going to give some insight into life in Hustle Pray Eat as the women of Hustle Pray Eat.
Yes.
So how was your week, Alyson? But tell me through the scope of Hustle Pray Eat.
Woo! Okay, well,
How did you hustle? How did you pray? And how did you eat?
Man, I hustled and bustled, which, like you said, we'll get more into all that later. But I am working to become a doula. That's my huge hustle, my biggest hustle, aside from being a mom, which is an even bigger hustle. It's constantly moving. Man, there was a point where I had to go see two of my friends. Sarah, she has just had the twinsy boys.
Twins!
My babies. Raymond, Izzy, hi, all y'all. I love you guys. But I had to take them some clothes, and then I also had to take clothes to Caitlin. Donnie, Heather, the Baileys. So I went to go visit and spend time with them as well. Since Mark is gone. So it's just me and Maverick. There was a point this week where I had Maverick strapped to my back and I'm carrying boxes like down the steps by myself because I didn't have anyone to help me. And like when I finally got this close to being done, like this random guy popped up. He's like, "You need help?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm almost done."
Oh, don't you hate when people do that?
Yes,
It's like,
you
didn't
watched
really
me
want to
the
help.
whole time. Like, but yeah, outside of that, man, it's been busy. I've been really trying to get into my word more, really trying to get into worship more, all those different things. It's just been a week. It's been a wild week, really reflecting on myself and life.
So it sounds like a lot of hustle, but what are you praying into? Like, what is feeding you right now?
Praying into my marriage, because let me tell you, like, once you get married, life does not end. And I feel like a lot of people feel that. They think like, oh, we're married.
They think it's like a destination, right?
No,
like you get there and that's the start of the
life
journey.
before marriage is a beginning. No, like when you say I do, that's when the biggest adventure begins because you're having to take in a whole different person. So definitely praying on our marriage. I've been really trying to get more into reading Psalms and Proverbs.
Okay.
Just because like growing up when we would do worship and stuff, they would always turn to Psalm or Proverbs. And that's kind of where a lot of like the like poetic type things are there. But it's also speaking truth into our lives. So that's what I've been focusing on. And trying to eat, feed myself. Me and Maverick, you were at my house yesterday. He's been learning to pray. So if
he's done a good job at it. And he looks around to make sure everybody in the room is praying.
If you're not praying with us, he will stop. He'll wait and he'll just look at you until you start praying, which can be good or bad. We'll see as he gets older. But he prays now. He can say Jesus. And if we say praise Jesus, he'll lift his hands and start waving. He'll close his eyes.
That's awesome.
He's doing it right now. So yeah, really just trying to feed into Maverick. He's at an age now where he is understanding a lot more. Yeah. So yeah.
Good.
What about you? How's
your weekend? So my hustle, I feel like it's been an easy week work-wise. It hasn't been too busy, which is good because I tend to be busy a lot of the time. But yeah, it's been easy. I've been working in my office, but the other day I saw a bug. I saw the first bug of the year. So there was nobody here to come and help me. So I kind of like locked my office and worked out in the lobby because I wasn't dealing with it. So
wait, you locked yourself out your office because you saw the bug in there?
Yeah, so like I just came out and like locked it up and thought, no, forget it. I'm not working in here. Aww. And then we had to get Mark stuff ready for tour, so a lot of inventory, and then had to put everything back on the shelves, count through what we have, send out orders and stuff like that. So it's been busy, but it's been It's been okay.
Yeah.
It's been fine.
Nice.
What have I been praying about? So on Thursdays, I go to a prayer group. There's a small group of us, and I think it was the first time in a long time that I really, really prayed,
Oh,
like,
that's awesome.
like out loud. In a group of us, like all praying at the same time, and we have a list of things that we're just keeping track of, because write down the vision, make it plain, write down what you pray about as well. I always tell people, if you're struggling to see God work in your life, writing down your prayers and the things that you are praying into is a really good way of then looking back and seeing where God has answered you, and really keeping track of the fact that God is good. God did bring me out of Egypt. God did save me from this situation. God did protect me. He did provide. So so that's what we've been doing. We've been keeping track. It's really like, I think it's really time that we go into like some warfare prayer, because we're reopening our doors. And there's going to be so much assignments from hell to try and stop it, to try and stop the flow of our ministry, stop the flow of us gathering as a congregation. There's going to be demons and everything sent to us on assignment to destroy what we have going on. So we're just praying against anything that will try and come against that happening, because it's very real. Spiritual warfare is very real. So we have to be prayed up. We have to be covering our leaders, really lifting up PE in prayer, because the shoulders of every leader are heavy. So just making sure that he's prepared and in a good place, just covering him with prayer, and the rest of our leaders, Kurt as the associate pastor, assistant pastor, and just really been hearing God tell me to prepare my heart. So I'm scared, because I have a feeling like, because of the immigration stuff, like I'm scared that he's trying to get me prepared to return home. So I'm just trying to, I'm
which we're speaking against, but if it's God, then it's God. But we're really
and that's the thing. Like, so I've been really thinking of so me and P was talking about his time in Israel, and he was talking to me about going to the Garden of Gethsemane. And I was thinking about like Jesus in that in the garden praying, and ultimately he did not, nobody wants to go to the cross, but it's like, Lord, not my will but your will be done. And that's what I just have to pray, because that's what's got me this far in my Christianity. It's like, not my will but God's will be done. And sometimes as well, this is what we need to realize, sometimes God's will for our life does not feel good.
A lot of times what God wants for our life does not feel good.
It does not feel good initially, but then when you're on the other side of it, and you look back, hindsight is 2020, and a lot of the times things make sense. So I'm not saying that's what God is saying to me, but I'm just keeping myself open to hear from him, like, exactly what do you mean, Lord, when you're telling me to prepare my heart? So that's what I'm praying into. Eat. I've been eating too much. Physically, I've been eating too much and not working out. Like, it's just a hot mess. I feel like Mavi, I feel like everybody that's been watching the podcast since episode 1 has been keeping track of my weight, because I always talk about it. But eating too much. But I have been in my word more. Maverick.
It's Women's Month, y'all.
Right.
We got kids.
Right. So that's been my week. It's been a good week overall. Just really reconnecting with God. Because remember last week I was saying that I always think that connecting with God, I need to fast to do that. So I've just been in a space where I've been trying to connect in different ways. So it's been good.
Awesome.
But yes, it's so funny.
Okay, we can try to.
Yeah, do you want to have him?
Yeah, let me see if he'll. Sorry, y'all. This is my life.
No, but this is a great segue, because in England tomorrow, or yesterday when this came out, this weekend is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to my mummy. Mommy Mel, my favourite girl in the whole wide world.
He's wanting to nurse.
You have something. Do you want to do it? Yeah, so it is Mother's Day in England, in the UK. So happy Mother's Day to my mum, and happy Mother's Day to my sisters and all the other wonderful mothers out there. Alyson, you are the mother in the room. So
Really?
not only is it Women's Month as well. This is the month of 2 years of Hustle Pray Eat. So and Maverick is one.
Yes.
So he will be two this year as well. So what has the balance of being like the wife of the CEO of Hustle Pray Eat and the way that you're involved in Hustle Pray Eat and being a mother at the same time? Because I feel like balance is one thing that everybody struggles with. So what's it been like for you these past 2 years?
Woo, it has been a struggle to say the least. Because one, going from, because I was single, being single to being married to moving to a different state, and I've lived in Kentucky for 20 something years. I've never lived anywhere else. So moving completely away from my family, then getting pregnant. Now we're starting a business. I'm trying to find a job. I'm, still trying to acclimate to Michigan. So it got busy very fast.
Because it all happened pretty quick for you as well. Because you and Mark wasn't together long before you got married.
Long. We met March, started dating April, got engaged in July, and got married in September, all in 1 year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Then we found out we were pregnant February of the next year.
Yeah, so that wasn't long at all.
Nah, like things went by extremely fast. But I think it worked out because when I met Mark, I think I shared this before, but he's just a worker. He's a hard worker. He is the definition of hustle, pray, eat. So when it came to, God telling us like, oh, it's time to move, like we didn't have money to move. And Mark was kind of like, all right, like, let's figure out how to have money. Like, let's start a business. That's the easiest thing you can do. T-shirts. Let's do it. So, literally sitting, talking about who we are as a family. I would say the behind the scenes was probably the most exciting. Like, imagine coming home from work and you're just tired. You're pregnant. You want to just go to sleep and you walk in and you can't get in your house because the door is blocked by boxes and boxes of T-shirts. There would be T-shirts in our room, in the living room, in the kitchen, in the dining room. Then he's like, oh, well, we could just go see Troy and LaDawn, and we'd go to their house, and there's boxes everywhere. And it's like, I'm over it. I'm tired of it. All I can wear is House of Parade. But in the long run, I knew, like, it was all worth it. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. Even now, we're not exactly where they want to be. Because we have such a long road to go. This is only the beginning of Hustle Pray. I hope anyone watching, I hope all y'all know this isn't even like the tip of the iceberg. We got so much more coming, and that's what I'm excited for is being able to support that. I'm someone that really enjoys seeing other people happy. So when Mark hears about a sale or when they come up with a new design or something, he gets so excited. Like as if we just had another kid. He's just over the moon. Like, we got this coming. They don't know what's about to hit him. Like, he loves it. And it just makes me so happy because I know how much it meant for him in the beginning when it was just a means to pay rent or get us groceries or whatever. It's been such a blessing. Not even like, because I think he's shared it, like not even money coming into us, but what it's doing for other people. The connection it's bringing to people in the community. You see someone random in the store. That's the best feeling when you see somebody else. It's always like, I think anytime I've gone to the store, which I really don't go out much, but when I do go out and I always see someone, like at least one person, they're like, oh, you're the Hustle Pray lady. I'm like, yes, I am. That's my man's things. Yes, yep, you bought it. So yeah, it's been really cool.
So how like over these 2 years, like from the start to like where you are now, how do you think your role in Hustle Pray has changed? Like, what did it look like in the beginning, and what does it look like for you now?
In the beginning, it was dedefinitely, I would say, just support.
I think you might need to come a little
closer. In the beginning, it was definitely just support. So yeah, in the beginning, it was definitely just that. It was just the support. That was my role. But as of lately, like you see here, I get to help with the podcast. I get to be the executive. Huge help. Yeah, I get to be the executive producer. I get to help make decisions as far as like outfit choices because it's 2 men running the company. Which, don't get me wrong, they're great men. Yeah. But but they're men. Their fashion ideas aren't really there all the time, anyways, because they're pretty fashion forward for men.
Mm-hmm.
For women, it's always different.
Like Pete and Mark and Tank, they didn't know the difference between a skirt and a dress. Like they literally found out last week Saturday.
It's different. It's very different, and even colors. Like I remember, y'all, Maverick is trying to be on the show this week. He talks a lot. But like just knowing the difference between like the fit of a hoodie for a female is different than the fit of a hoodie for a male. So, hey buddy, you have to be quiet, honey. So being able to just voice my opinion on that, like, no, I think ladies would want to wear this instead, or like even the color layout, something as simple as colors. Like, sorry, but girls aren't gonna want to wear like gray all the time or black all the time. Like, don't get us wrong, we love it, you know, we'll sport it, but like we want colors too. We want to be poppy in the spring, and each season has a different color too. Right. So being able to get a part of that has been awesome. Like I actually feel like I am a part of this, and that's also helped me get closer to the family. So I think it's been pretty cool.
That's good. What would you say like has been the biggest lesson and biggest surprise?
But yeah, I would say the biggest surprise would probably be, I don't know, that's a good one.
I know what mine is.
What is yours?
So P posted a picture the other day of him wearing Hustle Pray in two old white ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I took that picture.
Yeah.
And the reason why I thought this is so important to capture, because the two old, like very old white ladies, they were asking about Hustle Pray and saying that they liked his shirt. And I had to capture that moment because I think it's a great depiction of what Hustle Pray has become. Yeah. So my biggest surprise over this past 2 years is the wide demographic. Like, you wouldn't believe, like the people that you would think would want nothing to do with it, always stop, always say something, and actually buy. So
it's always the older,
older people. Like it's like. Yeah, it's like the demographic has been very surprising. We can sell to a wide range of people, which I think is awesome. And it's moved a lot
too, because at one point, and I think this goes into because of like Mark and Steven traveling, they took Hustle Pray with them.
It was great.
Yeah, I ran it together, but Hustle Pray with them. The demographic was mostly teenagers at one point, but then it switched to like young adults. Now it's like from teens to like 50, 60-year-old, like it's all over the place. And I will say, I guess kind of a surprise or interesting, like didn't think about that, is the word hustle. Do you ever hear like people? There are some people who really are bothered by the word hustle, and it's because of like the wording of it back in the day. Like obviously a hustler,
it's like a negative connotation.
Yeah, it's not the best thing, but you know, in today's day and age, like the word hustle is literally like what it is. Like, you're hustling, you're a hard worker, that's what it is. And I think people really get caught up by that, because even when I worked in the church, not this church, a different church, their mindset, they're like, they would always say, oh, I love it, but hustle, oh, I don't know. I'm like, it's not what do you think it is?
Yeah, and I think as well, like I've realised like different parts of the country have a different connotation for the word as well. Because I know like I've said it on here before, like that man from New York, and he was like, no, I don't like that. I don't like that. Yeah. Because he was saying that a hustler is a woman that sells her body. Yeah. So they didn't like that. But
so it's weird, because it does go, again, like with the demographic, it goes all over. Like,
exactly. So everybody has a different interpretation of it. But I think for the most part, they understand what it means. And if they don't, they ask, which has been great as well.
They don't just assume. No. Yeah. It's always a question of like, okay, so what does it mean? Or what does it mean to you?
Exactly.
And I like that. I always end up kind of giving like the short little background, but I always turned around to them. Yeah. And it's kind of just like, yeah, like we got it because we want to show like we're hard workers in our family. We're gonna make sure we work hard. We're gonna make sure we get the money to meet ends meet. Yeah, that's right.
Make
ends meet. Thank you. But yeah, we're just hard workers, and then that puts it on them. Like, How do you feel? Do you feel like you're a hard worker? If you feel like you're a hard worker too, represent
Right.
it. Like, let us know. We know you're a hard worker. We
Yeah.
see you out here. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's probably the biggest. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I think so. And I think like even the word pray, it's like people
Not
that
being,
people no. I was gonna say like people that aren't even
yeah,
Christians, like
Yep.
or don't really have a relationship with God or Christ, they would see pray and they can still associate it to whatever they believe as well.
religion
So
stuff,
it's
yeah.
not like of course our mission is to, you know, spread the gospel and minister through this,
Yeah,
but it even reaches people that are not there yet, which I
Right.
like. And then everybody likes to eat,
yes.
so it's like
Well, and that's the other thing too, along with pray.
Mhm.
I've had friends from Kentucky that are
Mhm.
like, man, like I do need to get back in the word. Okay, let me try to wear the hustle parade because I grew up Christian, and
Mhm.
I'm like, it's not necessarily reading the Bible, but if you're gonna relate the two, by all means,
Right?
do it. Like,
Absolutely.
represent. So
Absolutely. And the conversations that it starts, it's just been a great ride. Why you laugh?
Maverick's like
Maverick's
digging into.
face.
He's really into ears right now. I'm so sorry. Ears and noses. He's getting in there.
Yeah, so let's talk about more like the big part of your journey with Hustle Free has been being a mother as well. So
Yeah.
can you, like, I know that you had some struggles in the beginning, which
Oh yeah.
you said that you didn't mind talking about. So can you talk a little bit? This has turned into a bit of an interview, but I think it's good because you're like the woman of Hustle Free and it's Women's Month. So
Yeah, true.
so can you talk a bit about your journey as a mother, like from the beginning?
Okay, so from the beginning, Mark and I were not planning on having Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make that very clear. We got pregnant shortly after getting married, not right after we got married. It was like 4 months or something like that. But it was very quickly after getting married. We actually were both told our chances of getting pregnant or having a kid individually was going to be hard.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
miracle.
He is a miracle baby
Mhm.
in many, many ways.
Mhm.
So yeah, starting with that. Then when we found out we were pregnant, it was kind of like I had goals. I wanted to sing. I wanted to dance. I moved to an amazing church that we have a studio, a recording studio, and a dance studio. I was plugged into ministry, so I was working with the middle schoolers. I was on the worship team. Like, there was so much that me had planned, and it kind of all got squished. as soon as we found out we were pregnant, it literally was like, good luck. Like,
yeah.
Nice try. We'll try again later. But I do think there was a reason in that, and I can get to that later. But even being pregnant with Maverick, we found out at 32 weeks, they were kind of like, oh, he's like, while I was pregnant 32 weeks, they were like, oh, he's still kind of small. Like, he's 30 weeks. We'll come back and check again later. 34 weeks comes up and they're like, yeah, he's not growing. Like,
oh, he wasn't growing.
He stopped growing at 30 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, that's
why.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of people really don't know, but it bothered me because people would be like, "Oh, you're so small. You're so cute, pregnant," and it would make me. You can ask Mark. I would go home crying. Like,
really?
It's not my fault. I'm small. He stopped growing. It's not me. I hope he's okay. I don't know what's going. It was bad. It was so bad. And obviously people didn't know. We just didn't tell people because our concern was like, because the doctors didn't know what was going on. Okay, what is going on? Well, let's say we make it to full time and I have him and he doesn't survive. I don't want people to be in the business of that. And that was kind of the thing. So we found out he stopped growing. Then we found out that the blood type I have is a super rare blood type. It should have attacked and killed him. Yeah. Oh, wow. So as soon as I found out I was pregnant, they were actually supposed to give me a shot as soon as we confirmed I was pregnant. But because we didn't know my blood type, they didn't. Oh no. So we went until 34, I think it was on the 34 mark. It was 32 weeks. Some lady came in and she's like, yeah, your blood work came back. And she's like, but you didn't get your shot. Like, how are you still pregnant? Wow. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, he shouldn't be making it. Like, you should have miscarried a long time ago. And it was kind of just like, oh, okay, well, he's here.
Praise God.
Yeah. Even to the name of Maverick. If y'all know what a Maverick is, if you don't, a Maverick is basically a person who cannot be wavered. They are their own person. They're a very independent person. if you've met Maverick, that is him. Since being pregnant with him, like I started showing a lot sooner than most people would. And people were like, no, that's just gas. Like, nah, it was a baby. Because when we would check, they would even check and he would kick the baby Doppler off of my stomach. Like, he was very strong. And the doctors were like, first of all, he shouldn't be this strong. He's too tiny. He's all these different things. Then when we had him, it was like, it was just wild.
Because you had him early.
I had him early. They were going to induce me, which basically means they're going to start my pregnancy or start my labor and delivery on their own time. Maverick started coming on his own. Like 2 days before, it was actually like a day and a half before he was supposed to be induced. They checked me. They're like, oh, he's coming on his own. So they got us into the hospital. I actually thought it. I was like, no, actually, we're going to come back in 2 days and we're going to get induced. They're like, nope, he's coming on his own. He's got it. He's doing great. So we ended up giving birth. Kid you not, had about 11, 12 people in there. That was
your family?
No, that was just the nurses and stuff.
Oh.
And then on top of that, all my family. So my mom, my older brother, little sister, Mark's mom, Mark's sister, Mark's aunt. It was just,
oh my goodness.
We were having a party in there.
That was pre-COVID days.
Pre-COVID,
like, good luck if you even have your husband in there these days.
Which I'm grateful for my first child that's what it was. I would never do it again.
Was it too much?
It wasn't. But I think I missed out on the intimacy.
Of just having like you and Mark.
Yes, because when it was just me and Mark, before, because my family was coming up from Kentucky, when it was just us two, it was such a sweet moment. Like, we were there for each other. We were encouraging each other. We were laughing, joking. Like, Mark was the best partner I have ever had in anything during labor and delivery.
God bless you, Mark.
Yes, and we never took classes, so he literally was just like, okay, let me try this. Let me, let me do this. Let me see if it, and everything he did, he was jokey, but when he noticed I was upset, he was just like, all right, you got it. It's okay, But that leads to what I talked to you about, postpartum. Postpartum is something that is widely ignored. For a while, it was called the baby blues. It wasn't even a thing until more recently. But because you have babies, there's something that happens where, like, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm sure this is not what y'all came for, but just to give information, when you have a kid, for women, there is some hormones and stuff that's released that you're not used to. And then your body's trying to quickly, like, rebuild it, and it messes everything up. So I remember when I had Maverick, it wasn't until he was like 4 or 5 months that I even liked him. That I even loved him. Yes.
And that's like, honestly, God bless you, because that's hard for anybody to admit. Because I'm sure there's people that go through that, but they'd keep it to themselves because they don't want to be branded.
Because God forbid you are like, oh, I can't stand this kid. Like, why do I? And I get it, because there's some people who really struggle to even have kids or can't. So I get it. But it's something that's definitely ignored because of the fear and the stigma of like, I don't want to say I don't want this kid. Y'all, I'm going to be straight up with you. I did not want Maverick. Mark was gone after we had Maverick. He left, I think, to Jamaica, or he was on tour for like a month. And I literally called my older sister crying, and I was like, I want you to take full custody of my son. And she bust out laughing. She's like, oh my gosh, you're still, and I'm like, I'm so serious. I don't want him. I don't want to have to get up early. I don't want to have to keep pumping. I don't want to have to feed him. I don't want to have to take care of him when I can't even take care of myself right now. Like, it was bad. And there was moments that I like even had suicidal thoughts or suicidal attempts.
Can you talk a bit about that? Because like I said, like, that's another thing that I'm sure is a lot more widespread. Sorry, trigger warning. Of people like wanting it, like, or having the suicidal thoughts, because you did allude to it before when you said when Mark spoke about going through a suicidal week, and then you said that you had been there before, so you understood how to care for him in that situation. So what was that like for you? Like, how did it get to that point?
For me, again, I really just think it's a part of having a baby. It's one of those things you can't explain. Nothing in life was bad. Like, if we're very honest and serious about it, looking back, me and Mark were doing great. We had good finances. He was making money. He was still working. We had a great living space. Like, Everything was going great.
Mhm.
People thought Maverick wouldn't make it. They thought he wouldn't do good.
Mhm.
Nothing was wrong with Maverick when he was born. He only had to stay in the NICU
Mhm.
because he couldn't feed himself. Like he couldn't stay awake during eating. That was the
Oh.
issue. He was just little. He was tired because it
Mhm.
was a workout for him. Nothing in life was going bad,
Mhm.
really, and it was just me struggling with my new body,
Mhm.
struggling with the adjustment that I had
Mhm.
already gone through. And then now struggling to again take care of this kid. At that
Mhm.
time, I probably didn't shower for weeks.
Seriously.
Seriously. It was bad. And like Mark being the guy he was
Mhm.
like, I don't want to tell, like he told my mom, he's like, I don't want to tell her because I don't want her to like feel bad.
Mhm.
My mom actually had to tell me like weeks later. She was like, you look good. And I'm like, thank you. You stink. You need to shower. And it was like, okay. Like, she was like, we're
Oh.
going to take the baby.
Mhm.
You go in the shower. You take it. Because once you have a baby, at least for me, I didn't shower. Like, I
Mhm.
didn't have time to because we had to go to the NICU. But
Mhm.
so, the suicide moment, it was just so stupid. And I'm grateful that I didn't go through with it.
Mhm.
I literally, Mark took Maverick for me in the living room, and I went into our room, and I just told him, I was like, yeah, I'm tired.
Mhm.
Went in the room, sat in the dark. I listened to some music very quietly, and I was just crying,
Mhm.
bawling my eyes out. I texted my mom and my sister. I was like, I love you guys. Um, you guys have our address if you need to get here. And my sister is the one that was like, you're texting weird. So she tried
Mhm.
to call me. My mom tried to call me. I didn't answer. I
Mhm.
just left it. I think she ended up contacting Mark,
Mhm.
and Mark came in the room and he's like, hey, your sister's trying to call you. And
Mhm.
if you guys know me and my sister, we're very close. She's
Mhm.
my best friend, my older sister. Shout out Brittany. She's wild. But anyways,
She was actually here the other
she
day.
was
She
here.
was
I
in
think the
the.
last recording, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she's my best friend, and she immediately picked it up. She
Mhm.
called. I wasn't answering, and she was like, if you're her and my mom ended up texting me. They're like, if you're having thoughts, they didn't
Mhm.
say the word because they
Mhm.
wanted to, be very careful about it. But she was like, if you're having thoughts, you need to let Mark know what
Mhm.
you're experiencing right now. And so I called him. I'm like, hey, I need you. And or no, I'm sorry. Before that, I didn't say anything. Did it stop recording?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, we had a little technical
difficulties.
difficulties there. So yeah.
But
So,
yeah,
so you was in
sorry.
the room crying. They
Yeah,
couldn't get through to you.
couldn't get a hold of me, and I literally was like thinking of different ways I could, end it. And it wasn't until Mark was I heard him playing with Maverick, and I'm
Mhm.
like still crying. I'm thinking like, oh, Mark has this person here and this person. Okay, if something happens to me, then they'll be able to help.
Mm.
And that was literally my mindset. And
Bring your mic a little bit.
Mark was saying like, dad, like trying to get Maverick to talk. He was 3, 4 months. So he's like,
Ah.
dad, and you didn't hear nothing from Maverick. And he was like, mama. And Maverick goes, hee hee. And it was that laugh.
Ah.
I heard it and I started
That's
bawling. And then that's when I
ah.
was like, Mark, come here, please. And he came there. He's like, oh,
Ah.
completely oblivious. Oh, did you have a good nap? And I'm like, no. And he turns the light. He's like, you're crying. What's going on? And I told him, and he's
Mhm.
just like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I didn't know, like, and he sat there with me. He,
Mhm.
comforted me, all that. But it was a very dark moment.
I
It was,
bet.
it was scary. And it wasn't the first time.
Mhm.
Like for me, even now, Maverick, like you said, is a year old. He's
Mhm.
like 15 months.
Mhm.
I'm not good at the months thing,
Mhm.
but he's a year old. And I still deal with very mild postpartum.
Yeah, I
There's
was gonna ask
moments
you like how long do you think the depression lasted for you?
it's still going.
Okay.
I've actually reached out to different friends
Mhm.
who have had kids, and I'm like, oh, when did your postpartum end? And they're like, well, my kid's 11 years old, so
Oh
11 years. Like
no!
and it's just one of those
Wow.
things. Postpartum, they're still trying to figure different things out
Mhm.
about it, but it is definitely a thing that can be ongoing. My goal is to be done with it.
Of
Like I'm
course.
not.
In the name of
I
Jesus.
have a really hard time claiming it still now because
Mhm.
I'm like I don't want to say I have postpartum. Like
Mhm.
I'm upset, I'm down, but I'm gonna fight through it. And that's my
Absolutely.
mindset. So, yeah,
So in that time, like how, like where was God in it for you?
he wasn't.
Can you elaborate?
Um,
Because he was.
he was absolutely he was because if not, then obviously. But for me, I had friends I was talking to, and I think
Mhm.
it was Sarah, Carrie, Tim,
Mhm.
like that
Mhm.
group that I talked to. Um, and they were all like, "Oh, you need to pray. You need to." I'm like, "Okay, yep,
But
yep."
you didn't.
No, no. It was one of those moments where I wanted help but didn't at the same time. It was
Okay.
just like, man, like I'd much rather just be like gone. Like I just don't want to deal with anything. I don't want to have to pray. I don't want to have to feel like this. I didn't want to have this baby. Like it was one of those things. And me being the person I am, and this is not me judging anyone, you know, you guys do with what you want to do with your body. For me, I'm one of those people that regardless of how I get pregnant, I couldn't imagine like getting an abortion or whatever. So there was a moment in time when I was pregnant where I was like, man, I should go back.
Oh, wow.
And it was literally not because I didn't like Maverick, and it kind of like breaks my heart now because if anyone knows me, Maverick's my best friend. That's my buddy. And if you mess with him, you mess with me. Like, what's up? But there was a point in time where I was like, if something happens, if he doesn't make it, that's not on me. Like,
that is like very heavy stuff to like admit.
It's dark. Like, don't get me wrong, but I speak on it now because I know that there's people that feel that way and they feel like they're going to be stuck there or they're so ashamed of it. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, it's very natural, but also remember, it's not you. It's a very, I would say obviously scientific thing, but it's a very spiritual thing. Yeah, I was going to
say, like, what do you think was the spiritual impact? Like, what do you think was the involvement spiritually there?
Well,
because I feel like anything that tries to keep you away from God and keep you in a dark place has spiritual, you know,
absolutely
spiritual undertones too, and overtones. Yeah. Like, there is something spiritual with all of this stuff that wants to keep you in a dark place. Yeah, there must have been a spirit attached to that. So what did that look like for you at the time when you was going through it? Did you realize like this is also a spiritual attack?
I think that's another thing that got me through it is because I did know that. Okay. A little background about me. When my mom was pregnant with me, she didn't know she was pregnant, and the pastor that she had at the time was praying over her and was like, and this child you're carrying is going to go out into the world and heal, and she's like, I'm not pregnant. Like, it was one of those moments. Wow. And he was like, you are pregnant. And like basically speaking about me. And so I've always known, like, not that I'm special, but I am special. Like, I am special. Like, God has a calling on my life. Like I said, Maverick wasn't planned. We didn't even know it could happen. So for him to have been given to us, it was like, nah, he's special. Yeah. He's special. And we prayed over him every single day. Literally, before we went to sleep, we would pray together. When we'd wake up in the morning, we'd pray together. We'd pray over Maverick. We'd pray over our family. And the devil didn't like that. And I know that. He didn't like that. Like I said, if you meet Maverick now, anytime worship music is playing, anything Christian related, even when PE is preaching, he'll pop, and he'll be like so into it. Because, and I truly, truly, truly believe Maverick has discernment. If he does not like you, you need to go pray. Like, literally, because there'll be times like, if I'm even going through it, Maverick is he has a very sweet soul. So there's been times like I've just cried in his room, and he would walk over to me and he'll sit down, he'll grab a book, and he'll just rub my hair. Like, and just look around, watch TV. Mama, kiss me, and then go back to watching. Like, he has a very, very sweet spirit. On the flip side, there is people that he's met and he has been very mean to. He pulls away, and then later we find out like something they were going through. Okay. And it's always been like that. And I'm not going to get into that because that's none of my business. But but it has been proven like Maverick is very discerning. So I just know God has such a big calling on his life. He's so small, but even when he was in the NICU, he's almost 2 and he's still like 20 pounds. And to some people that might not mean much, but he's small. Yeah. And
he's 20 pounds now.
Yeah. Aww. That's it. And just to give a little reference, Sarah's twins are like 7 months, and the Zion, which is the biggest one, is 16 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So and he looks bigger than Maverick. Aww. Easily looks bigger than Maverick. So it's hilarious. But even like in the NICU, they were like, oh, he's the smallest one, but he's the loudest. Aww. And he's the strongest. He's the healthiest. He's definitely going to go home before everyone. Aww, and he didn't. There were some kids that went home before him, but they're like, he's the smallest, but we thought he was the strongest kind of thing. So Maverick's got a big call in his life. If he's the only child we have, I feel like there's There's a reason. I feel like me and Mark got our work cut out for us because
Yeah.
of what we were given.
Mhm.
He's better than us
Mhm.
already. Like,
Yeah.
he's just an amazing kid. I can't speak enough about him. I love him so much.
Ah.
That was my baby.
So, like, for any woman that is going through what you went through with postpartum, is it postpartum?
Yep.
Oh,
Postpartum.
that sounds weird.
No.
Postpartum depression. Like, what advice would you give? Like, or maybe not even advice, or like word of encouragement. Like, what would you say to them?
As far as words of encouragement, I guess would be the biggest thing. Know that it's normal.
Mhm.
You're not in the wrong for feeling any type of way.
Mhm.
Your body really is adjusting to a lot
Mhm.
at a very short amount of time. You
Mhm.
went from carrying and creating an
Mhm.
entire being in 7, 8,
Mhm.
9 months, like 10 months for
Mhm.
some people. It's a lot. Your body's changing drastically. So the encouragement would be, know that you're not alone. Know that there's
Mhm.
tons of women who have gone through it, and don't be afraid to tell people that you're feeling that way.
Mhm.
Maybe not publicly like I'm doing right now, but
Mhm.
again, this is months and months after I've
Yeah.
already felt that way. Find someone who you trust that
Mhm.
you can talk to about it,
Mhm.
because it is a form of depression. Depression is very
Mhm.
real. It's very hard to get out of. Postpartum depression is hard as well, because it's
Mhm.
not more so here, it's here. It's
Mhm.
all over there, because your body's doing so much. So definitely encouraging you to do that. And a little tip with what your baby is carried in. I know people get weirded out by the word, so I'm not going to say it. But what your baby is carried
The
in,
womb.
no, the placenta.
Uh.
Yeah. So you can actually get that turned into pills, and you can take those pills, and
Yeah.
it actually is proven to help with postpartum a lot, because it's those hormones that were taken
Really.
out, they're getting put right back in. So just a little tip for you ladies out there. If you're pregnant, feel free to reach out to me at, AllieB625 or GR Doula Mama.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And I just want to quickly pray for anybody that's going through postpartum.
Yes,
But
please.
I'm going to pray specifically for mothers, because it is Mother's Day back home. Those of you that are about to be mothers, and anybody dealing with any suicidal thoughts and depression at the moment. So
Oh, and the fathers as well. I feel like they get
absolutely.
overlooked
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot.
that's so true.
They don't go through postpartum, but there is a form of depression, and I wish they would dig more into that. And if not, I'm going to work on digging into that, because they have a form of
And even
depression
if they're not
after
feeling it themselves, they have to support
the person.
their wife,
It's
or
wild. It's all wild. But yes, please, let's pray.
Okay.
Please.
Lord, we just thank you for this opportunity to be speaking and hopefully ministering to our listeners that are listening right now. And right now, I just want to lift up those mothers, and we just want to say thank you for all of the women that you have chosen to bless with children,
Mm-hmm.
and chosen to be mothers, which is one of the most important roles and offices you could walk in the world, Lord. So we just thank you for them right now, Lord. We thank you that you have given us an opportunity to be open about this. I pray a special blessing over Alyson for using her test and turning it into a testimony, Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and using using it to just spread awareness of this very real thing that a lot of women go through. I pray for anybody that's going through it right now, Lord, and the fathers in the situation as well. I just pray a special blessing. I pray, Holy Spirit, that you are real to them, and that you
Yes.
just rest on their lives, Lord, as the comforter that you are, Lord. You said that you are a comforter, so prove yourself to be true right now in the name of Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and give them the comfort that they need. I pray also for anybody going through any sort of depression, Lord. I pray that they are able to speak to somebody, to find somebody, that you place somebody in their life that will help them, Lord. I pray that they hear a sermon, hear a word,
Yes.
see scripture, or even hear audibly from you, Lord. And that you would help them through it, that they will know that you will not leave nor forsake them.
Yes.
We pray this all in your name, Jesus. Amen.
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 Love that.
So coming out of that, then, I'm sure all of this inspired you to start your journey to
Yes.
become a doula.
Yeah.
So first of all, can you explain what a doula is and how you got started in this?
All right. So a doula The easiest way to explain this, a midwife catches, a doula coaches.
Okay.
A doula's job is to basically be the support. There's a lot of single moms, single parents, that don't have the support, that live away from family, or new fathers who don't know what they're doing. Like, let's be real. No, you're good. It's a very new experience. And it's really hard to teach what you do in that moment. So my job as the doula is to be there to support 100%. Literally, if you're in labor for 3, 4, 5 days, my job is to stay right by your side through it all.
Really?
Yes.
That's what you have to do?
Yep. Yeah. So we start working with you. It can be as early as you finding out you're pregnant, or it can be months into your pregnancy. We're there with you, advocating for you during labor and delivery. And then we also can stay in contact with you with anything child related afterwards. I actually wanted to do this for 10 plus years.
Really?
I have
so
always,
your dreams are like coming true.
Yes.
How does that feel?
Amazing. Amazing. Like this, aside from singing, because obviously singing is always going to be something I want to do, but aside from that, this was what I wanted as my like what I got in my back pocket, like my little backup career, you know. I've always loved fighting for kids, fighting for families. I've always worked in daycares. I've worked in foster care. I wanted to be a social worker. That's originally what I went to school for.
Okay.
Just didn't like how the system did certain things.
Okay.
And that's a whole different topic. But yeah, being a doula, it's exciting. Our training started in February and it ends actually the week before my birthday.
Oh, so that's my birthday?
Yeah, I think it is. Wait, June 16th, right? Did I get it wrong?
Yeah, you got it wrong.
No, I didn't.
I'm exactly a week before you.
That was June 16th. Or is it June 18th?
18th.
18th. I was close. June 16th is when we graduate.
That's Tupac's birthday.
Her and Tupac. But yeah, we've been going through this program and it is phenomenal. Let me say, this girl from Kentucky, I'm not used to being in a group of just Black and brown women. Not that I'm against working with anyone. I will work with whoever wants my help. But just where I came from, I was usually the only Black person in a said group.
I didn't know Kentucky was white. Like,
it's pretty diverse, so it's kind of weird that I ended up, you know. I think it was the city.
Town that you're from.
Yeah, the city it is a town. The town that I was living in wasn't as diverse.
Okay.
So like I cheered for 12 years and I was usually the only Black cheerleader.
Really?
Yeah. But I love cheerleading. Actually, I like the dancing and tumbling, but whatever. But yeah, this is something I wanted to do for a long time. Seeing this group of, it's like Black, Hispanic. There's one lady, she's Native American. I think someone is actually like Indian. Like, it is so cool just to see different races and then hear what's going on in the medical field.
Do you want to give us a little bit of insight?
Man. So just for a little background of doulas, I actually learned this last week, but being a doula or a midwife actually started back as far as like slave times. Oh. And during slavery, when the slave owners or even some of the slaves would have children, it was a certain woman's job to nurse the babies, to take care of the babies, to take care of the woman, to be there for her, to advocate for her, to clean the baby and do all these things after the baby is born. It wasn't until I think like the 1950s or something like that where they kind of got taken over. And it was like, in order for you to do this, you have to go through school. If you can't afford school, you can't do it. If you do it, you'll go to jail. And it was like, you kind of just took over what they had been doing for, and not just 50 years. It's been like hundreds of years at this point that these women have been doing this. And so found out, like, you know, obviously they kind of, they took it over and made it their own thing. So it's cool to see. It's almost, you know, they say like sometimes when people, if they have ancestors who were slaves, you can still kind of feel the pull and the trauma of that. It's one of those things. The more and more I learn about it, I genuinely feel like I'm learning about my ancestors. And I genuinely feel this like pool of like, this is it. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
A strong calling.
Yeah. Like this is who you are. Yeah. Like you are meant for, and it's wild what you have to learn. they don't really treat black and brown people nice.
Do you want to speak about it?
Can I? Like,
yeah,
I feel,
like,
I
talk
feel
about
like
what you have learned.
in a way, I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad about it because it's like something as simple as like the medication given to black and brown women after giving birth.
Mm-hmm.
There's a belief in the medical field now that black and brown women are a lot stronger
Mm-hmm.
and tougher. So it's less likely that they are believed when they go in for anything, even if it's just like a headache or a migraine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's 9 times out of 10, you're not really going to be listened to that much.
Okay.
And so I actually found out the medication they give to black and brown women to recover isn't the same medicine they give to
white women.
White women. Yeah.
Really?
It's a completely different medication. They give it this huge, like, medical term, and it's really just like Tylenol.
Seriously?
So that's why a lot of African American women, they end up struggling and having
Mm-hmm.
a lot more problems after giving birth, or they're just not listened to during that time. And that's what causes a lot of like child loss. Women, I think
lots of women die, right?
Yeah, black and brown women are 4 to 5 times more likely to die in labor and delivery than that of white women.
Wow.
So, like, for example, when I was having Maverick, nurses are supposed to check on you regularly. Me and Mark would go hours being in that room by ourselves, waiting for someone to come in and check on me. And it wouldn't be until I'm like either pressing the button for help or I'm having a bad contraction and they're hearing me. It's just wild.
So do you feel like your experience was bad? Like, do you think, like, other than not being checked on, did you think that you was...
I wouldn't necessarily say bad, but it wasn't as good as it should have been.
Okay.
Because I've heard stories of some women and they're like, oh, it was beautiful. They did this and this and this. And for me, it's like they barely checked on me. When I got my epidural, I asked, which if you don't know, epidural is what kind of numbs everything to make the pain go away. When I got it, I told the guy giving it to me, I was like, can you make sure, because at that time my contractions were literally like I couldn't breathe. They were like back to back.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, if you can just tell me, what's going on, that way I don't move. And he was like, okay, I'm numbing it. You're numbed. I'm going to put this needle in. Okay, you're numb. And he didn't say anything. And I'm kind of just like, is he still back? Like, as silent as it just was, it was just like that. So I look behind me, and when I go to look, he puts the epidural in. And it was like a shocking pain through my leg. I screamed out loud. My mom was the only one in there with me because you can only have one person in there. So I screamed. My mom started crying because she's never had an epidural. So she was like, why are you crying? Like, she said I sounded like when I was like a little kid and I hurt something. She said you cried. So I cried so loud. My brothers heard it in the lobby. Mark heard it. They just didn't know what it was. They just thought, I'm having a baby. So it was so painful. And then for a month, I could not walk. I had no feeling. Like, even if you do the little, like, I can feel my leg twitching doing this, but on this leg, it's slowly I lost nerve feeling in this leg. Had to get into physical therapy to get taught how to walk. But that's not even the bad part. The bad part was the nurse. I have no idea who she is. I hope I never see her again. I told her, I'm like, I can't feel my leg. She was like, okay, honey, you just need to lay back. I'm like, okay. And I lay back and I'm like, okay, but I'm in a lot of pain. She's like, stop. You're fine. You're fine. Literally grabbed my leg, threw it on the bed, pushed me back and was like, you're fine. You've never had a baby before. So I know you don't get it, but I'm telling you, you're fine. And kind of just walked out. And me and my mom were like, all right, I guess I'm fine. I can't walk for a month, but I'm great. Like, it was one of those things. So that was another reason that even pushed me even more to want to be a doula, because a doula's job, if that were to happen, like, say that was you going through that, my job would have been, no, I need another doctor in here to check the leg. We need to figure out what's going on. Why is she in pain? We need to check the needle and make sure it didn't hit a nerve. And if it did, it needs to be like, because a lot of times, especially as new moms, there's a lot of things you don't know. You also don't know you can deny a lot. And you can ask questions. Doctors sometimes make you feel like you can't ask questions. They make you feel like you're not allowed to voice your opinion or ask what you're doing because you're new. Like, them even taking Maverick, I found out, like, I can deny that. If he was fine, if he latched on great, they were trying to take him immediately. And I'm the one already, I was like, no, he needs to stay. Because I knew, I wanted him to nurse first. And they're like, he's not going to be able to nurse. I'm like, he's staying here. We're going to try first. And he immediately nurse, like, y'all saw, he knows what he's doing. So it's just it's something I wanted to do for a long time. It really makes me happy to do it. the person that's over the doula program is looking for an apprentice.
So prayers,
so y'all pray for me.
Alyson can be the apprentice.
I want to be the apprentice so bad, man. For starters, the interview to even get into the program, it started with like 70 something women in the Grand Rapids area. They only chose 12 of us.
Oh, so congratulations.
Thank you. That was it. We had to go through 2 interviews and do all these different things to just even get started, which the GR Doula Mama, that's my Instagram page for the doula program. Doula Mama. So make sure y'all look me up if you're looking for a doula. I got you. But yeah, and it's a promised, like, we have a collective, which means there's a group of us doing it, and we also have 4 facilitators that they've been being a doula or midwife or whatever for a long time. So those are the people we get to answer to, as well as, like, we're promised a job automatically. So we graduate in June, and then we have to stay with them from June 2021 until December 2022. So I have a promise, like, it's not going anywhere. I have clients. They're already starting our clientele, so we'll have clients.
That's awesome. So you jump straight into it, and that'll be your actual job.
Yep, and it's so cool because it is a very much an on-call job. The biggest thing is, like, having free time when you know this is the person's due date. If you've had a kid or if you've seen someone pregnant, babies decide on their own. But still, it's like this is when you're expected to have to go in. Outside of that, I got freedom.
Right.
So I spend time with family. I'm going to be working on music, and I am working on music. I'm working on dances and all these different things that I've wanted to do for so long. It's like this one thing that I wanted kind of made the freedom for it. So
that's amazing. Well, congratulations, and we'll definitely be praying for you that you get to be the apprentice, because I think you'd be awesome at that.
And she's so awesome. She's so sweet. She actually. Never mind. No, nope.
I think I know what
I'll share this with you after.
Yeah, okay. So that's been taking up a lot of your time, so a lot of your week. So you're doing that and balance. How do you find balance when it comes to work? And I suppose now, like you said, you got more of the freedom to be a mom. While you're doing that.
Yeah. I was actually working at a daycare, which is another funny story. I feel like God's going to get you where he wants you to go if you let him.
Yeah.
If you let him. I got this job working at a daycare, and I loved the job. It was a full-time job.
I didn't know you loved it.
I love the job.
It didn't seem like you loved it.
No, I know. There's a few people there that was kind of like, oh, but that's just working with people.
Yeah.
I love working with kids. I made some amazing friends there. They actually were messaging me before we started. Really sweet, really, the kids are amazing. Maverick was able to go. So he was learning a lot. Like, he talks a lot more. Thanks a lot, daycare. But I ended up, I technically still have the job right now. We're waiting for my background check to come back from Kentucky. But what I'm noticing is, like, if I were to have that job, I wouldn't have the freedom to be a doula, because they even told us, like, you can't have a full-time job aside from being a doula, because you have to be able to leave whenever for clients. I feel like God shut that down like quick. Like, love you, but nope, not doing that. I get to clean the church now, which if you know me, stress reliever for me is cleaning. I clean this church. I cleaned up here in the studio all the way down to the basement, and I love it. I love it.
I'm glad
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I'm like, man, I should add people in, but I love doing it by myself. And Maverick helps out, so it's really, really cool. But yeah, it's freedom and balancing Maverick. Maverick is very intelligent in the sense of, like, I went to go see, like I said, Caitlin. She's pregnant right now. Shout out Caitlin and y'all's little baby. He gonna be so cute. But I used the baby Doppler on her, and Maverick was watching. But I also posted a video. Maverick saw me doing it, and when we got home, he was doing it to himself. So he's like trying to put it on his heart. Then he heard his heartbeat, and he's like, because he's a dancer, y'all. So he's very observant, and it makes me feel proud to be, like, even though it's not my job yet, technically yet, it feels good to be able to have my son, like, aware, and I feel like he's going to be very aware of women. And I love that, because, like, sometimes I get in this weird, like, I'm not a feminist, but
I feel like you are a little bit.
I know.
I feel like
I've noticed that. I think
that's where me and you are very opposite.
I know.
Because I'm, like, completely not.
I think it's, I don't like to say I'm a feminist, but I will fight hard for women. I hate when people are like, oh, it's not that good, because
What
Don't
do you
try to
mean?
put, like, okay, I'm gonna get into it. Let's get
Okay,
into
go
it.
on.
So, like, one of my biggest frustrations is Christian artists.
Okay.
Right? Love Christian artists.
Mm-hmm.
There's women Christian rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It bothers me when certain, male Christian hip hop artists, whatever, they like, oh, I'm not gonna listen to it. I don't want to listen to a girl rap. And it's like, oh,
No, but to be fair,
don't start with me, Jane, because we'll go at it.
to be fair,
No,
you have to be really special for me to listen to a female rapper.
which is fair, but why do they not have to be special to be a male rapper?
Because their voice just suits it better.
But why can't
for
a
me.
girl's voice suit it better?
But
Or
it
not
just
even suit it
doesn't.
better, but why can't a girl's voice suit it? Or
It
even,
can, but
and
like,
not even-
but this is what I mean. Like, you have to have a certain type of voice.
Okay.
Like for me, like because it's just my listening preference.
That's fair. That's your preference. Your preference is wrong.
Like I don't know. Like there's something about a male tone.
I get that.
Which is like easier to listen to. Like
I think I'm just really big on women empowerment.
you're a feminist.
I'm not a feminist. Like
You are.
Or like even, and the other thing, and I think I messaged you about it, and I'm not going to say anybody's name. You lucky he ain't in here. But this frustration. Okay, so I'm a singer, right? I will put myself in the category of a Christian singer.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, let's do that. Because I'm a Christian singer, some people
Mm-hmm.
find it strange if I listen to non-Christian female artists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you shouldn't be listening to that. Oh, you shouldn't cover that. Oh, you shouldn't talk about that. You should. But there's some male Christian rappers who will listen to everything under the sun. Tupac, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Big Sean, Drake. And don't get me wrong, I love all those artists I just named. I'm a huge fan of them. But they can listen to them. They can do videos on their story to them. They can do dances to them. They can pick that same beat, which everyone knows whose beat it is, and remake it into their own. And it's like, this is the dopest, like I did this.
But how do you know there's not people telling them the same thing that they're telling you?
Because
they just don't care.
No, I've talked to some of them about it. And they're like, no one's ever mentioned that to me. And it's like, that's interesting that you can listen to all that. And
but do you think it's a woman-man thing?
I don't know. That's why I say I'm not a feminist, but this is just what I've noticed. I'm not a feminist.
Yeah.
I really believe in women.
I think you're a feminist. I think you should.
I'm gonna look into it because I really don't know what all feminists entails. Like, to me, it's just like we all should be winning, guys and girls.
Yeah, I believe so too. But you seem like the person that would like.
Can you say really quick?
Yeah.
Me and Jade hang out outside of here, and we have conversations like this regularly. So please don't think that we're like. Yeah, we're not going at it. This is just regular.
But like, I feel like you're the kind of person that would root for someone just because they're a woman.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes me not a feminist.
Okay, so if there was a man and a woman doing something, you would want the woman to win over the man. No, okay.
Not necessarily. I think it just depends on like the stances
the vibe
and stuff.
you give.
Yeah, I know it's the vibe. That's why I'm like, I get it. A lot of people think I'm a feminist. I'm not. Like for example, perfect example. Sorry, Sarah, but Beyonce and Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. People compare them. They're like, oh, Michael Jackson's the best, Beyonce's the best, and then there's people that'll argue, oh, you're only saying that because it's Michael. No. Michael Jackson's amazing. Like he.
So you think Beyonce's better?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No, I love Beyonce. She's not as great as Michael Jackson. She's getting there. She might be out of her prime, starting to get out of her prime now. Mm-hmm. She's very talented. I don't even think she's the best singer. Yeah. Like, but that's a good example. Like, people are so quick to, you just say Michael Jackson because he's da 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 da. No, Michael Jackson is amazing. He can dance, he can sing, his performance in itself is amazing. Beyonce does these very big, flashy, but I think she taps into things that Michael Jackson did. Because she's a singer. Like, I feel like that's someone she probably looked up to as an artist. So.
Okay, so maybe not, but I do think you have this very
I know. A form of feminism. I've been the person that's been put down because I'm a woman, and I think that's why.
Oh,
it's
have
like,
you?
Have
you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't think I've ever experienced that.
I have.
Really? Like where? Like in what situations?
Plenty of times. When I cheered, this was like back in like, I think I was in 8th grade. Or no, this was when I was in 9th grade. We had male cheerleaders, and if you're watching this, I hope you know who you are. We had male cheerleaders, and mind you, I had cheered for so long. There's something about guys when they start to cheer, they pick up things so easily, and I think it's just because they don't really fear as much. Where we get like that, I don't want to get hurt, you know. But I had been cheering for so long already, and this guy came in. He was new, and he was like, I was trying to tell him how to do something with like putting a girl up. He's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a little girl. Walk away. Like, and me being who I was then, I was a lot meaner. I'm very nice now. Very nice. I was a jerk. And I was just like, you know what? I like my team. I'm not going to get in trouble. So I walked away. And this other girl on the team went off. She was older than me. She went off. And she's like, Alyson actually was the only 8th grader to make it onto a varsity team in about 50 years. Like, so she knows what she's talking about. And I did. I studied. When I get into something, I study it out. I don't just get into it. So she went off, and she's like, she knows what she's talking about. Don't try to point out just because she's a girl, she can't do it. Like, she's been doing this. She knows what you're an older guy doesn't make you any better. Like, so.
I have been discriminated against for my height when I was 3 years old.
What? That's normal to be little at 3.
But I was extra little. So when I was in nursery, right? Yeah. And I was 3 years old. Everybody else is 3, mind you. So imagine how short I must have been. And the other kids wouldn't let me play with them because I was too short. So there was a climbing frame, and I was in my whole year of being in nursery, they never let me play on the climbing frame with them because they said that I was too short.
I also root for the underdog, because if I was your friend then, I'd be like, she can do it. Watch this. And I would have helped you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. My mom hates that I love Spider-Man. I love him, though, because he's the underdog. He's the youngest of the group. In every single movie, I know he gets beat up. In every movie. But at the same time, he finds his strength in himself. He doesn't depend on someone else. He finds his strength in himself, and he builds himself up, and then he can do it.
And that's what I done. I just used to play by myself. So I think that's where it started. And I've always really enjoyed my own company. So in nursery, I had one friend. She goes by Miss La Familia now. She's a rapper singer. Okay. But we used to play mums and dads or whatever. But they'd never let me on the climbing frame because I was too little. So can you imagine? I really want to go back and look at myself.
Can you put a picture up if you find one?
I'll try and find one, but I must have been really short because at that age everybody's short. So I must have been tiny. But the whole time I never ever went on the climbing frame.
Nah, I've always been that person to fight for if I was the person, I actually got in a fight in high school with a guy who was bullying someone with autism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't get expelled because I was defending him. I always defend the underdog. I wish some.
Well, that's good then. So maybe you're not a feminist. Maybe I
just care about people. Yeah, I'm actually an advocate. I took a personality test, and on almost all of them, I always end up becoming the advocate or the helper or the defender. Actually, is the other one.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So that was my little
advocate anybody.
That was my little discrimination story.
I'm sorry.
But I was 3, so I don't know if it counts. Thank you. Talking of discrimination, though. So there's been in the UK especially, but really worldwide, there has been the big story about Meghan Markle and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey. Unfortunately, we tried to watch it, obviously, so our research would be on point, but we couldn't.
We failed.
We couldn't. We
failed.
We tried though. We couldn't. We couldn't find where to watch it, but I really wanted to watch it because I'm usually the person that doesn't agree with the mass.
Yeah.
So it's everybody's coming for people that are against Meghan, and they're sticking up for Meghan and stuff like that. I have to sit down and see. I have to look into her eyes and see what kind of character is, because people are So do you know who Piers Morgan is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he quit, didn't he?
Yeah. So he people don't like him because of his opinions, but I feel what I'm
you would love him.
Yeah, exactly. He used to make morning TV entertaining for me. So So but I do think he goes after her a lot. But he was calling her a liar or whatever. I don't know exactly why, obviously, because I didn't see the interview. But he quit, so that's been a big thing. And like he stormed off the stage and everything. But I'm just curious to know if I would actually agree with him if I watched it.
Well, I think the reason he got upset, from what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
was because they were saying he was being racist.
Yeah.
Which I am not in a. I mean, I'm technically in a royal family, but I'm not in a royal family. Whether you're trying to get out of it or not, you agree that stuff is kept quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sorry, but Meghan should have kept her mouth shut. I know. I was waiting to tell you.
Wait.
So
1 second. Let me get comfy because I'm so shocked. I take back
I told you
feminism. Because I thought you'd be like, Meghan, like, despite what she said. So you think she should have just shut up because
and not necessarily. I wouldn't, and I think that I'm not being a feminist, but not necessarily shut up.
Mm-hmm.
If they were doing things wrong as far as race, as far as like her being a woman, all those things, like I get it, but there's a way to handle it. The fact that even though you are out of it, you're still technically a royal member of the royal family. Yeah. You have to know there's an agreement that you make. You do not share that business. So I'm
so shocked that you said that.
I was waiting to tell you that. Yeah, because I knew. But no, I don't get me wrong. I love Meghan and Harry. I love them like that. Oof, they are a beautiful couple. They're one of my favorite couples right now. But she should have kept her mouth shut. Like, I'm sorry. So you
don't think she should have done an interview?
Maybe not. No. And if they did do an interview, at least with everyone, or more than just them two, because of course that would make it biased. Of course, her being a pregnant woman, emotional, all those things, people are going to be like, oh, they shouldn't have did her dirty. Like, yeah. Even if they did, let's get the whole family in on this. Let's all talk about this, because honestly, they probably did say racist things. They probably did, but you probably should have known that going in. You being there's always going to be something. You being the only Black female in that family at the moment, there's going to be something. You got to know that going in. Yeah. So yeah, honestly, I think she should have packed her stuff and moved out. Yeah,
I'm very shocked that you think that.
I hate that she went through it. I don't think it's fair. But as far as telling the whole world what went on, I don't think that was handled right. Because I also think of it like, if it was my family, right? And say, like, we can use me and Mark as an example. If we did something wrong, we moved to Grand Rapids, like, I'm not about to do an interview with Churches United and be like, my mama did this and she said this about Mark, and that's not how you go about things. That's from a professional standpoint, that's not how she should have handled that. Harry shouldn't have helped her with that. I can
see that, but I can also see getting to the point, because the papers, like the press in England, were terrible towards her. So it's like everything, like, so like, for example, pictures of her holding her pregnant stomach, they would like say, why is she holding her stomach all the time? Is she insecure? Is something wrong? Like, they made it very negative. When it was Kate Middleton, and they compare the articles when Kate Middleton was pregnant, it'd be like, oh,
motherly,
Kate spotted cradling her bump or whatever. Like, it was like positive connotations.
But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you can obviously, it's very obvious. Yeah, some of the racist things. So coming outward like that, probably not the best way. That's why I say they probably should have did like a family interview. They should have reached out. If they didn't want to do the interview, have them call in or do something. It was going
to be hard to get a family interview. They're not the Kardashians. They're the royal family.
I understand that, but still, like, even if it was just
Grandma Queen is going to come
not that's what I'm saying. Not her. Table. Even if it was just one other couple. So Kate and is it William is her husband? Even if them two joined in, I feel like that would have made it a little better versus just because people are already gunning for Meghan. Why put yourself in that spot? Because it's going to just make things worse.
I can hear that. I can understand. But then, where is her voice? Because like if she's in the press all the time and she's, you know, being attacked in the press, and that's like the introduction we have to her is through press and through media. Where is she meant to speak?
But that's the thing. She could have easily taken that and and just like they did it, because from what I saw, it started out with her and then her husband joined in later. They could have done something almost exactly like that, where it was just her, then he joined in, then it was them. And then on the flip side had Kate and William, and then they joined in, and then all four of them. They could have done like more than one something, because then it makes it seem like what people are wanting. It's her gunning the family. And that wasn't the case. That's not what she wanted to put off. That's not what she was wanting to do. But because of the light that she's already in, I feel like that definitely, like, it just made things worse. Or
written a book.
Or written a book. That would have been perfect.
I think that
she could have written a book, and y'all know everybody would have bought that, and she would have made money.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna have to find the interview though, because I really want to like look at her, because you know people say, oh, so my friend Tiana, shout out, she said that she watched it, and there was one point in the interview where she Meghan said something about that she didn't like research Harry before she married him, and then we were like, what woman doesn't like you? A royal prince, you're not gonna research him. It could be anybody, and we like go into detective mode.
I can't agree with that.
You don't think so?
No, because even when like with Mark, he's not a prince. He's my prince. He's my king. But even when meeting him, like, I'm the kind of person that's like, I don't want to get to know you through this. I want to get to know you by getting to know you. I want to talk to you. So
really?
It wasn't until we almost like got married that I reached out to his friends and was like, what is he like? Kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can agree with her. If she said she didn't do it,
really,
she probably didn't. Yeah. It's
me.
Rare. I was gonna say it's rare that you see it, but you also have to think she technically is richer than him. She has more money than him, based off of what she did, acting wise.
Okay.
So I feel like if anything, he would have had to look her up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like where they were at. Not that she was greater than him, because she wasn't. Because you know, obviously he's a prince, but there probably wasn't too much on him because he's a prince.
True.
Versus for her.
But I'm sorry.
But at least knowing he's the prince,
any
like
Tom,
you would
Dick,
know
and Harry
some
is
kind
getting
of.
Googled.
That's true.
I thought that was a bit. Girl,
I don't know. I'm not from England.
Well,
I'm from Kentucky.
But yeah, so I'm gonna try and find the interview though, because she's an actor as well. So
everybody does that.
But I'm not accusing her though of lying or anything like that.
Everybody's like, she's an actress. She probably just acted like she was sad.
I believe she was like look at like Harry's mom, like Princess Diana. She went through it, and we know that she went through it.
I also feel like Meghan. It's been said she's been dealing with postpartum. So she's been going through it already, on top of everybody talking about her, on top of her being pregnant again.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I don't want to say either way though until I actually watch it.
Yeah,
but I am very surprised that you think she should have shut her mouth.
She should have. Sorry, Meg. Love you, girl.
I'm very
Meg the Duchess. But you should have.
Really?
That's my opinion.
I still can't believe that. But
just an opinion. It's not, you know.
Wow, there's that. But yes, so you have a song for me.
I do.
Do you want to get it ready?
I feel like you're gonna hate it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You better not hate it. I'm gonna be sad.
I hope not.
Oh, here it is.
Okay. So tell me what it's called and who it's by. Okay. I'm excited.
I'm so nervous, y'all. Okay. It's called Fire.
Okay.
Caramel Macchiato.
Didn't you just order that from
This is actually a cold brew, but I do like caramel macchiatos.
Okay.
But yeah.
So it's by who?
Angie Rose.
Oh, okay. I like her.
Yeah.
From what I've heard before. Is this a new song?
I'm not 100% sure. I actually just heard it this week.
Okay.
So.
And it's called
It's called Fire. Caramel Macchiato.
Oh, okay.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I'm so nervous. Okay.
When that fire starts to
You're feeling the fire, yeah. You're feeling the fire, yeah. If you don't feel it, then you hear it. I know it's been better than your spirit. And if you saying you don't really get it, and can you tell me why your head keep rocking with it? Yeah. See, fire's an event and not a thing. So when I say I'm spitting fire, understand just what I mean. Now I mean if a word can get you all up in your feelings, then it must be the verb that make the maker say it's finished. The maker's mark is really made before we start, cause it take the artist's vision to create a work of art. Working hard and let them think I'm hardly working, cause when you digging deep, it mean to come up is for certain. Yeah, ain't no vendetta in these metaphoric rhymes. I guess them trips around the world can really change your state of mind. Often caught up in a parable of words, but my preference is action, so my mind is spitting verbs. Around many, but I'm known by a few. Thoughts are good and plenty, but my words so few. Yeah, that's really cause I never play with fire. If my words is life and death, then I'ma use them to inspire. You're feeling the fire, You're feeling the fire, If you don't feel it, then you hear it. I know it's been better than your spirit. And if you say you don't really get it, and can you tell me why you head keep rocking with it?
Run the track so I could run it like a marathon, like Daniel over Babylon. Let's Shadrach, Meshach in the Bendigo. I'm finna go crazy. I hope you got your.
Okay, I can't listen to any more
I
of that.
knew it. All right, so here's the thing. This is the reason I chose this.
Why?
Because I knew you thought I was a feminist. That was the first thing. Because it's Women's Month, and I know you don't like women.
I do like women.
No, she doesn't.
I do like women. I think people might think that I don't like women. Tank, do you think I like women? Not like that.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
Don't like that. Not like that.
Between
Do you think I'm like more
There's
inclined to
what?
to guys?
Yep.
Like?
And
I
the
do
other
prefer
reason
them.
is because I don't know if y'all listen to her or not, but Janae Aiko, she don't like her.
Mm-mm.
And
She's
I
boring.
knew.
She's
I
boring.
chose this song because I was like, she's gonna think this is boring, and she's not gonna like it.
It's not. But the thing about that song, I wouldn't
It's slow.
class it as boring. I like slow music. You've heard my playlist,
True.
but that to me it sounded like somebody scratching a blackboard with their nails.
What?
Her voice was highly annoying.
Angie, I hope you're watching this. I'm a fan. I don't care. And
I've heard her music before.
Yeah,
Like
this is a newer one. This is definitely a newer one. I heard of her because of Styx.
okay.
Styx is the drummer here,
Mhm.
y'all. Hi Styx. He's a sweetheart. But yeah, he used to do the drums for her.
Really?
And I think
Oh,
they're friends. Like I
okay.
think they're really cool.
I feel bad now. Maybe I should.
You should,
No,
because it's Women's Month.
yeah, but
So that's why I chose. I do.
do you know what I mean? Though.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, the voice is just annoying to me.
So I'll say the reason I like it. You
Mhm.
have to be in a mood for it.
Mhm.
This isn't, and don't get me wrong, but this isn't one of those songs that you just play whenever. I
Mhm.
feel like you definitely have to be in the mood for it.
Okay.
When you're kind of just like driving around, or if you're just chilling, you know,
Mhm.
coffee in hand kind of
Yeah.
thing, just like vibing out to music. We're in like a discussion, so I feel
Yeah.
like, of course, right now wouldn't be great, but listening to it on a speaker
Okay.
at home with a coffee in your hand.
I'll give it another try.
Yeah,
I'll
give
make
me an
sure I have the
update
coffee in my hand
next
because
week.
maybe that will help.
Because if nobody else, I have another one.
But
for next week.
the second verse,
I knew you were gonna
is
like them.
like it was more like a
Is it leash? Hold on, it's gonna leash.
it was more
Yeah,
like a
lish.
raspier tone. Like I preferred her tone.
It gives me the like salt and pepper vibes,
Mhm.
and I think that was why I thought, I was like, okay, if Jade likes it, then that's why. And I knew, girl, I know you.
Yeah, you do, but no. But
It's
anyway, moving swiftly on, talking about music. The 26th of March,
Yeah.
we have the Welcome Back show because we are welcoming back our congregation because the Edge Urban Fellowship is opening their doors on the 4th of Sunday the 4th.
Yeah.
Sunday the 4th of April, which is Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, and there's no better day to reopen as far as I'm concerned. So the week before that, on the 26th, we do have the Welcome Back concert, and we're also welcoming back Stephen and Mark. We're welcoming them home. Fix your face. We're welcoming them home from tour as well. So on that show, we have Stephen Malcolm, Mark the Bad Guy, and Tank the Beloved. Yeah, so we have Tank on there as well, and we have had submissions for our opening act. And from what I see, I think we should have 3.
Definitely Maverick, because his audition, phenomenal, baby, phenomenal. Mommy supports.
But yeah, I do think we're going to end up having more than one.
I think so too. So if you submitted, I think it's past time now.
I think, definitely.
But man, if you submitted, I'm excited because Jade was saying it was good.
Yeah, I think they were all good from what I saw. I think we should have 3.
We might have 3.
Personally. But yeah, so make sure you get your tickets. So if you go to Eventbrite, you can type in Stephen Malcolm, or you can type in welcome back, and it will come up, and purchase your tickets. There's VIP and there's standard tickets. So we are super excited.
The VIP tickets, I feel like they're gonna go fast. So if you want VIP, because especially
I don't know
what? What's wrong?
I just got really dizzy. Oh my goodness. Whoops. Okay, resume.
You should get checked, please.
Yeah. Wow.
I forgot what I was about to say.
I felt really dizzy. But yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. I think the VIP tickets are gonna go fast because of COVID. I don't think they're really like meeting up with the people like down here. So VIP is your chance to actually
get pictures and stuff.
Get up close and personal. Yeah. So
and Tank is dropping his project.
Yes.
PTSD, and we're so excited. It's going to be really interesting to see this show.
It's going to be a good show.
It's going to be an amazing
because they're home.
Yeah, they're home.
They love being home.
Right? So make sure you come out and welcome them back and welcome the Edge back.
Yes. And come find me and Jade. Talk with us.
Ms Teapot will be in the building.
And so Mrs.BaddGuy.
And so yeah, episode 20, we've done it.
Episode
20, right?
I think so.
Episode 20, and hopefully by the show we'll have more microphones, and we can start getting guests up on here as well. So if you are somebody that you would like to come and speak with us at Husband the podcast, then let us know as well, and we'll check you out and see if we'd like to have you as a guest. That would be cool. So thank you so much, guys, for rocking with us. We hope you enjoy your day, and happy Mother's Day, Mummy, favorite girl in the whole wide world. Yes, happy Mother's Day. We love you all.
Like, subscribe, share.
Oh yeah, like, subscribe, and share. And I hope God is with you. I know God is with you.
Absolutely.
And make sure you spend time this week getting into His presence. Make sure you spend time this week hustling, praying, and eating. Bye!
A smart mouth kid with a head in the wind. Mama said I was a free spirit. I believe her. The kid they say would fail is me, the overachiever. So don't believe them when they tell you that you can't. It just means you gotta